What's up guys, welcome back to a new Kengan Ashura Kengan Omega hot takes video. This time we got over 600 comments on the community post I made about a week ago. So of course I won't be able to get to everyone, but let's get into the most liked or most popular comments. Hope you enjoy. I don't like how some of the Purgatory wins have been lackluster. Stuff like relying on ring outs, poison and disqualifications just take away from the threat level they pose. The biggest threats so far have been Drota, Naden, and soon enough Lolong and the Tiger Vessel aka Fei Wang Fang. I pretty much agree with this. A lot of the Falcons I don't really agree with because the poison is kind of part of his body, and some people will complain about Falcon but not about Hanafusa or Bando, so can't really complain too much about that. But I do feel the same about, you know, the deaths and the ring outs, and yeah, so yeah, pretty much agree with that. I'm not going to read all this in today's video, but it's just pretty much talking about the issues with the 13 vs 13 tournament. One thing people need to realize, the main thing about Kengan Ashura was the Annihilation tournament, while the Purgatory vs Kengan tournament is just one arc of Kengan Omega. It's not meant to be a redone or replacement of the Annihilation tournament. It's just a mini arc, or not a mini arc, the longest arc so far, but an arc of the overall manga, not the whole manga itself. Julius would have won against anyone we've seen fight so far. Toll is probably one of his worst matchups, and he still showed him what true strength is. I kinda agree with that. I do think some other fighters could give him some trouble and potentially win, like Drota and Lu Tien, but I do agree that Julius could potentially defeat anyone that's fought in the tournament thus far on Team Purgatory. So yeah, Julius is a solidified top tier. Tarashi was way cooler when he was buff and mysterious. Now he's just meh. This isn't really a hot take, more like facts at this point. Kengan Omega doesn't concentrate enough on the mind games between employers. It was half the fun of Ashura. I heavily agree with this. One of the major things that actually made my personal favorite fight in the series so far, Galang vs Kano, so entertaining was the conversations and interactions between King Rama and Metsudo throughout that fight, and the same thing for many other fights. So yeah, I wish we got more of that between Nogi and the CEO of Purgatory. We've got a little, but it's just not the same as how great it was in Kengan Ashura. I think Omega Ryan, when he's serious, could probably beat Beard and Omega and be evenly matched with Omega Kano, but I do think Kano would win super high difficulty if Ryan and Kano ever had a fight. I kind of agree with that. Regarding like the pinnacle of the verse now, so like Kuroki, Kano, Kuro Ryan, most likely Lolong and Oma and people like that, a lot of that stuff is kind of very interchangeable. They're pretty much on the same tier, so it's kind of hard to say for a lot of them. But like you said, I would probably bet on Kano due to his evolution and how much overall adaptation he really has when he fights. Oma's beautiful story end in Ashura was one of the best moments. It was a bit ruined seeing him in Omega, though I'm happy he was back. Yeah, I agree with that. It kinda ruins the ending of Ashura with him returning in Omega, but still hyped at his return, so yeah, pretty much agree with that. A lot of things in today's hot takes video aren't really that much of a hot take because I'm kind of agreeing for a lot of them. Katsuya and Shingiro would steamroll the Knowledge tournament. Katsuya most likely, Shingiro I think would be a little bit closer. Samato is strong enough to beat Kuroki or Kanagito. I do not believe so, considering he is kind of implied or compared to Ashura Ryan in many regards, but yeah, I won't comment too much on that. Sorpang isn't fodder because he lost to Ray. Ray's attacks only worked because he rattled Sorpang's brain in a way only he could accomplish due to his speed. If any other fighter that wasn't as fast tried, it wouldn't work. Sick of the Sorpang slander. So I somewhat agree that Sorpang isn't trash because of this, but another factor to consider is that Sorpang was pretty much Ray's counter during this fight, and Ray was trying to overcome the compatibility issue, which he succeeded in defeating Sorpang by going with the rattling brain strategy. But yeah, Sorpang isn't a jobber or anything like that. It's just that getting kind of countered by the person you're meant to be best at to defeat is kind of a big rips. The Kengan Association should have more foreign fighters. Well, that would be great to have more foreign fighters, but you know, Japanese manga, a large variety of the cast are Japanese, but a lot of them are Chinese, where a lot of people don't actually, you know, consider them Chinese. But yeah, a lot of the fighters are actually Chinese compared to Japanese. But yeah, I do wish there was, you know, an Australian fighter in Kengan. That's what I'm waiting for. Okubo is undoubtedly one of the strongest fighters in the whole Kenganverse. Okubo is world-class boxer, kickboxer, world champion class virtual, MMA heavyweight, etc. He possesses the single most versatile fighting style out of any character. I think Kano's more versatile, but yeah. Is able to use it so unpredictably that Agito before his evolution could not predict it. On top of that, he possesses absurd fight IQ, seeing how he was able to determine and conclude that Tarashi was using ability, etc, etc. Yeah, a bunch of stuff about Okubo. An issue I have with Okubo above anything is his durability getting pretty much one-tapped by formless Kano Agito, which is a big root, but yeah, Okubo is close to, you know, the top tier, but not quite there. Kureha is top 3 in the verse, potentially top 3, I personally think so, but there's a lot of interchangeable stuff, probably in the top 7 or even the top 10 at this point, but yeah, he's definitely on the high tier. The version of Kano who fought against Gowlang would be defeated by Hatsumi-sen. So if Kano was to fight Hatsumi in round 2, in the idea that he was going to defeat Hatsumi in his own game, which is Aikido, Hatsumi I think would most likely win, but one thing to always consider, what he did against Gowlang, his evolution. Evolution is kinda very broken, and I wouldn't be surprised if, even if he is getting shit on by Hatsumi's Aikido and is falling into Hatsumi's trap, his evolution may allow him to overcome that. And even against Beard, when Kano was on the brink of losing, he continued to evolve at the end of the fight and almost actually defeated Beard. So Kano's evolution is hacked to the max, so yeah, he could very well lose, or his evolution would of course give him the win. While Kengan Ashura is a 10 out of 10 manga for me, I can't help but give Kengan Mega a 7 out of 10 max. The characters just don't have the same level of motivation anymore, and the characters that do have motivation like Kogu's etc. aren't even participating in the fights. Again, the whole story of Kengan Omega isn't complete, and this tournament is only a mini arc in the broader thing of Kengan Omega, so I think a lot of people really need to wait, and the moments we have gotten so far aren't really bad by any means, but yeah, this isn't the same as Kengan Ashura currently, which of course a lot of sequels can't be as good as the original. If Ray makes a comeback, he'll be able to beat most of the characters that are currently considered the strongest. Potentially, but still, characters with foresight will be quite an issue for Ray to deal with, so if he can't overcome something like that, he will still have an issue with the, you know, pinnacle of the verse. I may be alone, but I cannot understand the power scaling in this verse. Well, it's not really like Dragon Ball or other characters where they have like a key system or like a power level system which like pretty much nullifies anyone who's like below that power system or power level. So it's more like most characters can really damage one another. There's a lot of like interchangeable stuff, and it's really scenario based and technique based rather than raw power or like overall like spiritual pressure or something like that. There wasn't really a valid reason to not include Cosmo in Purgatory vs Kengan. The reasons we got for him not participating is apparently had a Kengan match scheduled close to the start of the tournament, and the whole faction thing in Kengan where they can't have too many people representing one group, which I do kind of feel is quite stupid and not really that much of a valid reason. And from what we've seen of Cosmo, he doesn't seem to be injured from the Kengan fight he had, so he could have very well fought in my opinion as well. Gowlang could beat Misasa in a straight up fight with no special rules, mid to high difficulty. From what we've seen of Misasa compared to what we've seen of Gowlang, I would be inclined to agree with that. I think Gowlang is still a better overall striker and would defeat Misasa in a one-on-one Kengan or Purgatory match. Even if it was like the small arena, I do think Gowlang could potentially win super high difficulty, but yeah, definitely on the high difficulty range regardless. Kuroki Gensai's power is overrated. People treat him like some type of god when Kano is pretty much equal to him now. Well, look at what Kano did to the likes of Lu Tien, who was just pretty much given some of the most hacked shit in the whole Kenganverse. Just give him perfect formulas, oh you want removal as well, take removal, and Kano pretty much mid-diffed him. So yeah, I do think Kuroki Gensai and Kano are pretty much still at the peak of the verse and you could say gods. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I'm going to do for today's hot takes video. Didn't want to make the video too long, just around the average length of my videos. Hope you enjoyed. As always, shout out to the people who support the channel via the Patreon. Stay tuned for the next hot takes video, most likely in around a month's time. So yep, that's it guys, peace.